Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are up to episode 5 of the Oosh Bros podcast.
Five.
It's we need to get like a filming portion done here at some stage where it's like people can actually see our gorgeous faces. And like try and bring a visual element to it. But at the moment, I like the audio aspect. It means I don't have to put clothes on if I don't want to.
We're both currently stark naked recording this. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Office door completely just unlocked.
Yeah. I'm actually recording this while taking a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah.
But no, it's the Oosh Brothers podcast. It's another installment. We did an installment on Wednesday to make up for the last couple of weeks, and that installment went for about an hour and a half. It was a really good episode. I enjoyed that episode, actually.
Yeah. I'd say so far our best one.
Yeah. There's a huge amount of world news, obviously, at the moment, and then one glaringly obvious thing in the internet space that's kicked off, which we should
There's
probably
actually a couple
touch on.
obvious internet things. Yeah.
Should we start with world news? I feel like we should ease into it. I feel like we should ease slowly on down the road.
What do you got for the world news?
So on the BBC weather website, they accidentally put that there was going to be 15,000 kilometre per hour winds in London and 400 degrees temperatures in Nottingham. And have clearly got their stats mixed up with whatever's happening in Florida at the moment with Hurricane Milton. Yeah. It's the only threatening thing that's ever been called Milton.
Well, you say that, but if you remember, if you know of, there was an actor in like the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and also he was a radio actor as well. His name was Milton Berle. And he was known for having a large member. Apparently, it was quite well known. So I'd say that's pretty threatening as well, and that's a guy called Milton.
Okay, I will retract my statement.
That's two.
I don't know if
Miltons.
Yeah, I don't know if Milton's hammer has caused as much damage as this hurricane, but if it's if it was widely noted, then there's a chance that might just happen.
I'd say different types of damage has been caused by things called Milton. So
yeah.
Well,
the hurricane has deleted Florida, and Milton Berle seems to have deleted cervixes. So,
I believe he has passed since. So a big RIP to Milton Berle and his sword, his scepter, as it were.
His impressive schmeat.
Yeah. He was like the John Holmes of Hollywood actors of his time.
He was the Lexington Steel of the 1940s.
But yeah, because speaking of Hurricane Milton, he actually there was some kick streamers that were trying to film themselves in the middle of it because the what's the word I'm looking for? The scholars, the blessed people known as Aiden Ross and Ice Poseidon, who were just awful people, put a challenge up for $70,000 for people to risk their lives to try and get footage inside the hurricane. Which, one of my biggest gripes is $70,000. It's a lot of money, but it's not life-changing money. If you're gonna,
it's not worth risking. Yeah.
If you're gonna risk your life, at least make it at least a cool $500,000, because they can easily part with that kind of cash.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Ice Poseidon scammed people out of $500,000 on a shitcoin a couple of years ago. Shock horror.
Well, I mean, like, there's you get to that sort of level of the internet where that sort of dispensable income is just ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
it becomes second nature to them. There was a clip that circulated a couple of weeks ago where they were doing the sidecast, and I think it was just Toby, Simon, and maybe Vic, and they were talking about this that, and apparently when they're late or when there's a fine or whatever, they give each other cards. KSI got a yellow card because he'd been late like 2 or 3 times in a row, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, too important now." But he's probably too busy making terrible fucking music.
Have you seen his mental state take a huge hit?
Oh, bro, he's putting up stories like, "I'm gonna quit music," and what's the point if everyone just takes the piss out of you? And
he was on stream with Aiden Ross, and he was like, "I just don't understand all the hate. You put so much hard work into it, and people are just, they just shit on you. There's a comment on the video that has more likes than my actual music video." And then he said, "Why don't people like the video? It's good music." And I was like, if you're calling your own music that is obviously terrible good, then you probably should not make music. And all because Dan TDM tweeted once.
Yeah.
He tweeted once. So now KSI is having a mental breakdown. That's long overdue. For his music, anyway.
Yeah.
So hopefully he goes back to the screen and leaves behind the pen, the bling and the ring, and the king.
So, where I was going with that is that Ethan said to him that he could buy his way out of the yellow card. And he was like, "Oh, what do you think would be a fair amount of money?" And as a joke, Simon was like, "I don't know, 10K?" And he's like, what do you mean? Like 10K each?" And they all looked at each other and went, "Yeah, 10K each." And he was like, "All right, calm." And there's like, oh no, it wasn't even the sidecast. It was Simon and Randolph's podcast. And he was like, "Oh yeah, sweet as calm." And then was like, Vic, he paid Vic and Toby, I think, and then Simon's like, I could send him my details and get $10,000 with a message, but it just feels so slimy to do that. Like, I know the other two guys have collected, but I think KSI already had their already had their details or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to Aiden Ross, I think we were talking just before about when you get to that level of money, and that's where it sort of peeled off to KSI, and then the terrible music thing. I was going to bring this up last week or earlier this week when we talked, and it was I ended up getting into like a YouTube comments argument with somebody. So Drake Bell, I don't know if you remember Drake Bell from Drake and Josh.
Yeah, the Predator.
Yeah. He wasn't convicted.
No, yes, he was. He pled guilty to, I think it was like sexual misconduct with a minor. And there's a really funny video on YouTube. Someone put his like court, because it was a Zoom court case. Someone put that, but they put the Drake and Josh like laugh track and intro on it. It's actually really funny to watch.
No.
It's excellent. So yeah, he has been found guilty of terrible things with children.
Okay, well that's oh god, okay. But what I was going to bring up was this absolutely terrible song that he wrote. I can't even remember the name of it, but it's By the Ocean. Is it By the Ocean? Okay. So Drake Bell wrote this song called, I'm pretty sure it's By the Ocean. Let me just pull up the lyrics.
Isn't that a song that Joe Jonas did with his band? That was Cake by the Ocean.
No, that's Cake by the Ocean. Okay,
yeah.
So I'm going to read through these lyrics because so the context for it, right? I chucked in the comments, he's got to be kidding. This can't be a real thing. This must be like clickbait or rage bait in order to get us to listen to something else. And someone who's clearly like a defender of his was like, "Oh, apparently they were just in the studio together and he wrote this song and they were like, oh, that's super catchy, you should release it." And I was like, oh, okay, well that sounds like it should have stayed in the studio. And this I'm assuming it's a chick because they typed as though they were a chick. Well, I mean, taste is subjective, and like when I look at your face, I don't say that you should have stayed in the womb or something like that. And I was like, okay,
Damn.
but this is a public platform, and I'm allowed to have my opinion, so go
Yeah.
fuck yourself. And I didn't hear anything back, but it was just like, what a fucking weird bitch. Like, don't fucking comment on my shit. No one
It's kind of
fucking asked you. I was literally just, it's a public forum. I was
oh
expressing my
shit.
opinion.
Yeah.
Suck your mum. Like, I'm actually fucking done with these bitches online. Anyway,
That's kind of a
so
bar though.
20, it is kind of a bar. But
I look at your
English
face
was
and I just
clearly,
think you shouldn't have come out of the womb.
yeah. But no, they followed up
Sorry.
with just kidding and a smiley face, not an emoji, but like
Oh,
a
yeah.
typed smiley face.
Well
So English
done.
is clearly like a second language. But yeah, it was just
That's
it was a
fantastic.
bar accidentally because it's one of those like nondescript European country people from Family Guy. But it was
Oh
just yeah,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
fucking weird as.
Happy.
Anyway,
What is
so
it?
by the
Gurgen
ocean, this
Gurgen's
is
Day.
I can't remember.
Sorry, sorry.
So
Go
24
on.
carats makes you my bunny. Heard you catch more bees with honey. Well, that's good because I got no money. Like Philly, I'm always sunny. Just these next two verses are probably spent my last dollar on a bus to the beach. Brought my hand sanitizer and a bottle of bleach. Suntan lotion by the ocean. Dancing in my Speedo slow motion. Then I stop. And the beat just goes, got sand in my toes and my Cheerios. And in the music video, he's pouring a bowl of Cheerios. I got popcorn, bubble gum, and a hit song on the radio, and I don't understand why the lifeguard's mad. He's furious. Why so serious? And then his bridge is senoritas in Adidas, banana hammocks, and margaritas. And that's repeated twice. Senoritas in Adidas, banana hammocks, and margaritas. And then it just repeats that verse again. Spent my last dollar on a bus to the beach. Brought
Yeah.
my hand sanitizer and a bottle of bleach. The cops are always telling us to get out of here, but I throw my arm around them and I give them a beer and some
It's probably because
lotion
he's wearing a
by the
banana hammock in
ocean.
public.
Dancing in my Speedo slow motion, suntan lotion by the ocean, dancing in my Speedo slow motion, then I stop. And it's the music video is shot on what looks to be like a very similar Nickelodeon set.
Nice.
There's sand on the ground. He's pouring a bottle of Cheerios. He's, for whatever reason, brought hand sanitizer and a bottle of bleach to the beach.
Just keeping clean.
Simply because they rhyme. But he's honestly, all he's doing is going through and he's just rhyme dictionarying at the end of every lyric. And the video
he's trying
is
to,
just
he's trying
as
to be
cringe.
MF Doom. He's trying to be.
He's trying to
do
spit
the MF
fire.
Doom, yeah.
But it's like
Alright,
the video is cringe and the lyrics are cringe and his acting in the video is cringe. So I was wondering if it is a bit, like if it's a no, surely the rest of his music can't be this bad, and then you get in there and it's like, oh, okay, I could probably listen to this, but I can assure you that's not the case. Like I tried. I was like, no, but I wanted to like Drake Bell's music so bad because of the nostalgia part of it. I hadn't really read into the whole essay issues. I hadn't really done anything to do with that. So it's kind of tainted it even further, really. But the fact that there's people in his comments that are still defending him to a point where they have to argue with a complete stranger on their valid opinion on this dude's music is absolutely wild to me.
Yeah. But then you got hit with a bar, which is. Oh, man.
I'll see
look
if
at
I can
your
find it.
face.
It's somewhere.
I look at your face and I wish you didn't come out of the womb. Just kidding.
Oh no, so it wasn't even that deep. So like, I said he's
Fantastic
actually
work.
kidding, right? Like a gimmick, so we stream something else of his. And then this person said the story is it was written as a joke in a session. Says he wanted to joke around in the studio to feel better than himself after writing sad emotional song about his life and being depressed. It wasn't going to be released until friends convinced him they had fun with how silly and catchy it has. So, great. Straight off the bat, great times. I said, well, I feel as though that probably should have stayed in the studio then. And then from a different point of view, I do think someone else must love something even if you find it hideous. For example, I didn't think it should have stayed in the womb when I saw your face. Just joking. Hope it gets the point across about being decent humans and realizing the world doesn't turn for you. And I was like, oh,
Damn.
absolutely. Taste is subjective. I was just expressing my opinion on a public forum. That's what it's for. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and I didn't get a
basically,
response.
what I'm hearing is you
I
had an
miss you,
argument with
Wolven
Lao
Spy.
Tzu. Because that was
Yeah, oh, yeah.
philosophical.
Honestly, hit me with the Tao Te Ching, my guy. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, put me back in my philosophical place. Teach this Taoist how to be one with himself. But no, Wolven Spy, if you're
Shouldn't
listening.
have come out of the womb. Oh, that's unfortunate.
But it was, yeah, the phrasing was so weird. Wolven Spy, if you're listening, firstly, subscribe. Secondly, go and fuck yourself. Raw.
Thirdly,
okay?
thank you, because I'm going to
thirdly-
use that now.
It's
gonna
just,
use that.
like, yeah, it just...
I'm going to use that bar.
There's something about defending sexual predators online that makes me a little bit even, like, angry about it. I mean, YouTube comment to YouTube comments, but it's like, maybe they don't know the context or something. But yeah, to go into his comments on an obviously bad song and defend him to the point where you have to, because I'm not the only person they responded to. I went through the comments and there's like 4 or 5 people where Wolven Spy has gone in and been like, hey, maybe we should all just be like decent human beings, you know, because you shouldn't have come out of your mother's womb, my guy. Like, and it's fucking, you know, whatever. But it's yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I had the same. I had the same kind of interaction. It was on a Tiny Me Gang short, and it was just when the whole Cody Code drama was like just starting, and there was a guy that was commenting on every single person's, and I was saying, I was I guess defending him, but also I was like, we don't know all the facts, you know.
Yeah.
And then this person would say, oh, but you're okay defending a sexual predator. So I'm not defending him. I'm saying we don't know all the facts. Let's just give it time. And then I said, also we, you know, as much as you don't want to victim blame, you're talking about a person that has a history of online dishonesty in Tana Mongoose. And also...
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then her credibility had taken a hit prior and after all the things came out, but that's just irrelevant now. And I miss Cody Code.
Yeah, so
anyway.
But this guy has obviously got into the comments and replied to everyone else's comment and accused them of supporting an alleged sexual predator, right?
Yeah.
The obvious response to that is, okay, but you're in here making comment after comment after comment on every single TMG and potentially Cody Co video, which is just pushing his content further into the algorithm.
Yeah.
So essentially you're supporting him financially by, you know, trying to fucking white knight for this chick that you don't know, who wouldn't even fucking look sideways at you in a bus. You're like, you're ridiculous, bro. You're ridiculous.
Yeah. I'd put it down to like slightly parasocial behavior, like, but then again,
massively.
I would even say that I was maybe a tiny bit parasocial myself, like talking about it, and yeah, but yeah, that was that. I do remember that was mornings of my life, wasted really arguing with that person because there was never they never wanted to hear another side or another argument, but you know. But speaking of SA and all those terrible accusations, young Fiddly, as he's known now, the young fiddler, young Philip, I think is his full name, was arrested in Australia on SA and R-word charges. Like arrested.
This is the big story. So, obviously, young Philly from the Beat Her squad, they have been arrested in Queensland and then extradited to Perth. He's facing Perth. I can't remember what level of government he's going through court with in his charges. local, state, and federal. It must be state. But yeah, so R-word charges. The biggest thing, there's like 3 counts of that apparently. Impeding someone's breathing. Obviously is just, it's choking. He choked someone. And what was the other one? I don't think they were a minor.
I think it was like.
I think that it was.
It would have been like forced. Something or other. Forced.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, so he's stuck in Australia until December, and then like old clips have resurfaced of like chunks saying that he knows too many stories about Philly.
Oh, dude, there was someone clipped up one of iShow Speed's streams where it's him and Speed in the back of a car with these 2 chicks, and then just randomly he leans over and like grabs this chick's throat, and like to her credit, she was into it. Like, you know, that's, you know, whatever your kinks are is what your kinks are. I'm not here to shame anybody. You know, and this particular chick was into it. He wasn't clearly impeding her breathing or whatever, but it was just weird that was his fixation. What the Sidemen have done and what the Beta Squad have done, they've gone through and removed every single video with him in it. Like every clip, every major video, they've either clipped him out or they've just removed the video completely. And their team would have been working on that tirelessly, because this is like, obviously, he's in a gaming team with Angry Ginge as well, who came out in a stream and was just like, look, I don't know what to do right now. I got told about this at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's not something I can, you know, like I'm not gonna sit here and say what I need to say, because there's, you know, legal proceedings now and all that kind of stuff. Pieface jumped in and was just like, and like 5 or 6 times in his stream was just like, guys, I can't say anything, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he's a piece of shit, I'm never speaking to him again, blah, 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 because it's A, not my place to say, and B, we don't know the whole story yet. And then obviously he's got some blowback because it looks like he's trying to defend a sexual predator as well. And it just, the beat goes on and on, bro. It's getting to a point where, when it comes to YouTube, that you just have to expect that whoever your favorite YouTuber is also a piece of shit, like, regardless. And we're talking about this parasocial relationship type stuff, man. And these people delve so deep into your life and your background, and they try to find out any bit of information they can about you. And they, you know, that they can misconstrue things. I recently was talking to a friend of mine who had something come up with another friend of theirs from, like, you know, X amount of time ago, and they had gone through like a therapy session or something and brought it up with that person, like 5 or 6 years on or whatever it was, and it caused this big uproar. Things that had been sorted like years and years and years ago are now being resurfaced, and it's the same with, you know, things that it's that weird uncanny valley between what happens that was acceptable in, say, like the 90s, early 2000s to now. You know, you'd go back and watch a movie. We spoke about the Ace Ventura Pet Detective movie and the transphobia within that movie. During the 90s, perfectly acceptable. Some would say even funny. Now, if you were to make anything even remotely close to that, you would be cancelled online. You would be sent death threats. There would be crazy amounts of backlash if you even hinted at something like that. Even if you said in a movie, like, oh, this person's trans. Oh, do you remember, you know, Einhorn from, you know, Ace Ventura Pet Detective?
He was,
you know, and that.
Boom.
Yeah, that's all you need. We watched Mrs. Doubtfire the other night, and there's the scene where Robin Williams is taking a leak, right? And his son walks in on him taking a leak, and he like runs into the room. He's like, "We got to call the cops! We got to call the cops! He's a she-she! He's a she-she!" And was like freaking out. And then the chick grabs like a tennis racket and is like waving it at Robin Williams dressed as a woman. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like, that's not transphobia as such, but it's one of those, like, these kids had no idea, they had no point of reference, and their immediate response to finding out someone was was pre-op trans was to scream, ring the cops, and grab a tennis racket to defend themselves like something was going to happen. And this is what, 97? You know, and that's, yeah, I don't know. The whole thing seems just a little bit fucked. I don't have any love for young Philly. I don't think that he's a real stand-up individual. The only thing I ever liked about him was watching his little brotherly moments with Chunks, because obviously they were really close. Yeah. And I feel for Chunks with this, because obviously, old mate, I mean, for Chunks to say, oh, I know too many crazy stories about Philly or whatever, that's obviously been taken out of context now. It could mean, you know, dude likes butter on the outside of his sandwiches or some weird shit like that. It doesn't necessarily mean, you know, I've seen him do crazy shit. It could mean anything, you know, something as simple as he picks his nose and eats it or something, you know, like, I know some crazy stories about that guy.
When young Philly, when Chunks said that, I think like the topic of conversation was like young Philly marrying into Chunks' family or something. So it was like maybe on the same sort of.
But that could be that he's been unfaithful in previous relationships. It doesn't mean that he's, you know, sexually aggressive or any of those sorts of things. Because I feel like Chunks being a Muslim man is. Well, we know that now, yeah. But like, I'm not. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what Chunks was implying. You know, I feel like as a devout Muslim man, he probably wouldn't abide by that stuff anyway. You know, best friend or otherwise. You know, there's a code of conduct that you have to have, and you know, like, you know, there's bros, and then if your bros are doing like fucked up shit, if you're not calling them out, then you're not even a man, bro. Like, that's the hardest bit. Like, always hold you and your boys accountable. You know, even stuff as simple as stuff like saying racist stuff or you know, stuff like I refuse to use the R word, but a lot of people have just started using it all of a sudden again. Like, it's okay to use it now. I've been on a couple of podcasts where people have used it. I've had conversations where people have used it, and it just like pops up in conversation now. And I still don't like using it because it doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel comfy to just whop out with that. You know, like it's yeah. And it's, you know, like, and I'm not sitting here virtue signaling for, you know, people to just be the best version of themselves or whatever. I've done shit stuff in the past. I'm no fucking saint. And look, if I was to ever blow up, and I'm sure there's stuff on the internet that people could find where I've been like vaguely racist. I don't think I've ever been transphobic. Oh, no, actually I did have a problem when Caitlyn Jenner won Woman of the Year. But that was because one of her competition was a school teacher who got shot in the face, saving her entire class of students.
Yeah,
and she was She was nominated for Woman of the Year as well, and Caitlyn Jenner won Woman of the Year, and I had a problem with that.
And there was also another woman that was like a severe, like an amputee who like had, I think, one arm and no legs, and she won like multiple marathons or something, and she was nominated. Then Caitlyn Jenner won.
So I had an issue with that, and
Caitlyn Jenner is now, I believe, transphobic herself, or something, and sexist, and something along those lines, which is really strange.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah,
I do not keep up with the Kardashians. I would honestly rather, you know, gargle battery acid. I really just can't be asked. But it's, so my issue was that she had won Woman of the Year for that year, and the social justice warriors came after me being like, how dare you, you know, like, it's so brave for her to do this, and yada, yada, yada. I was like, yeah, look, I get that, and especially coming out in that climate, massively brave, and making the transition during that climate, massively brave as well. But this woman literally took bullets to the face to save children. I feel like that deserves a little bit more recognition, and that was where I got into, you know, online trouble. So I'm sure there's things I've said in the past that could be misconstrued. I'm sure there's things that I've said in the past that could probably be, you know, like, used against me later on if I were to ever, you know, blow up from this shit, which I probably won't ever blow up from this shit, but, you know, it's good fun. And that's kind of the weird duality of putting your entire life online. I feel like if you're not inherently a good person, or at least you try to present yourself as a good person,
Yeah.
in in those sorts of ways, you probably shouldn't be a social media influencer or a social media personality. Like, this dude clearly has some sexual triggers and is a piece of shit when it comes to dealing with females person to person or whatever, and he's been snapped and now he's being charged. Who was the other one recently? Who was the guy that and he's like autistic or something, and they found old videos of him
Oh, you're talking about
banging
Sketch?
dudes. Yeah, bro. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but he hadn't done anything like wrong, right? It was
Nah,
just because he lied about the fact
he
that
copped to it, and he copped to it in the best way. Like, he was on stream and he said, because I think he's slightly autistic, and he came on stream and he said, I didn't have sexual relations with that man. Okay, maybe I did, and then that's pretty much how he kind of copped to it. I was like,
Yeah.
fair enough, dude. I mean, do what you wish, But yeah,
Yeah,
I
there
feel
was
like
people that were.
yeah, he did that very well, in my opinion.
I feel like there were people that were mad at him for, I don't know, lying, I guess. Like, I don't know if he'd said anything like homophobic in the past, maybe. That'd be the only way I would see it being like an issue where he's quote unquote lied. That doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense to me at all. But yeah,
But it's always the raging homophobes that are the most that are the most homosexual people. Like, they're always the ones that want to be the bottoms the most, are the dudes that are like the most against the homosexual community. Like
Yeah. Oh, look,
a lot of the Catholic
like-
Church.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like going back to social media personalities and stuff, there's a lot of there's a lot of discourse still surrounding the whole Ava Tyson, Mr. Beast thing, because a lot more stuff has come to light recently that he was not only privy to it, but there's a chance that he was engaging in some of it as well.
Jimmy
in terms
Beast.
of like messaging people back. Yeah. So in terms of messaging people
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
minors especially, that dude who draws like CP,
Like Lolly,
and they bought his
Lollycon,
artwork.
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they wasn't just Ava Tyson that bought artwork from him. It was like other people within the company too. The Predator that he hired to be like his CFO, and he's doing anything he can to like ban comments and like do all that kind of stuff. It's just not working out. Like, it's not making him look any better the way that he's managing this. And then Lunchley comes out, and KSI's song absolutely tanks. Logan Paul is getting constantly picked on. You're like, it's not working out for these people.
CoffeeZilla. He's suing CoffeeZilla for
Yeah.
bringing out the facts about his fucking scam. I'm sick of Logan Paul. I actually know people that like that fucker. That is so strange to me.
Yeah.
He is. Not only did he film a dead body in a Japanese jungle, but he's also scammed millions from his fans over and over again. He's also a terrible pro wrestler. He wears like a $200,000 Pokemon Charizard card around his neck like a fucking wanker. I just don't understand the hype around him. And Jake Paul, like, he's terrible. They're all terrible. Even their dad is terrible. Like, their dad
It's
comes...
getting to a point now where Jake Paul is the lesser of two evils, which I never thought I would say out loud, because Jake Paul was always the one that was the absolute worst. And then the more that comes out about Logan Paul's like CryptoZoo, all of the stuff
Wink.
that he did in the past that's been catching up with him. The Lunchley stuff is really weird. The Prime stuff, it's kind of hard to trust anything that goes
That
on. Like,
shit
I used to
tastes
have
fucking
a couple of
disgusting.
Prime bottles here. I used to have a couple of Prime bottles up here back when it was
remember
like $20 a bottle or whatever it is. Sorry, for context, listeners, that I have a big shelf of things behind me that I've collected over many, many moons, and one of the things I had on there was a couple of Prime bottles, because I was like, oh, cool, it's finally come to New Zealand, I'll give it a try. At the time, rather large amounts of respect for KSI and rather large amounts of respect for Logan Paul. But I threw them out today, actually, when I modeled my office. Like I've completely ripped it out and started again, and it looks pretty amazing in here. I would love to get a video feed for this at some stage, but it's yeah, like I had that respect for them, and now it's just gone. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like KSI hasn't actually done anything wrong. Well, at least we don't know. We don't know
No,
yet.
he also is a scammer. That has been proven. He has done bump and dumps.
Ah, cool. All right, so everyone's a piece of shit. That's great.
But let's jump into some good news. I think. Let's switch it up.
Let's do that.
Good news from good news from a video gamer's perspective. Ubisoft. We talked about them earlier. Yes. Are going potentially into liquidation. Huge news. I am super happy because they have been going down the drain for the last many years. Their terrible actions and decisions are finally biting them in the ass. There's a potential buyout happening, which I really hope happens because they need to switch it up, because you can't expect people to not only pay for a subscription for your games, but pay them to own them, and then when they don't pay the subscription, they don't own the game. It's like that. You're literally taking video game ownership out of it. Like, that's you buy a game, you own it. That's how it works. Like, you can't just let people buy a game, and then when they don't pay a subscription, you take it away from them. Like, that's not how ownership works. But yeah, so huge news in that respect. Ubisoft going into liquidation. I'll be honest, I'm happy, because it means there'll be a reshape, hopefully, of the company. We could get a good Assassin's Creed game again. We'll get the Division 3. Maybe a good Far Cry game again, because the last good one was Far Cry Primal. Far Cry 5 was so below average. Like, the end didn't make any sense, because you had, like... I'm just going to go on a rant here. Far Cry 5, like, you're in, I think it's Montana or somewhere in the south of America. You go and arrest a cult leader. You get trapped. You basically have to fight your way through. And the ending is the whole world gets nuked, pretty much. And you don't really find out. You don't really find out You don't find out why that happens until you actually Google it, because on the radios in the game is the game talking about like heightening tensions between the worlds or the countries. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's not really made obvious that that's what's happening. So yeah, super terrible game. I see it on Reddit all the time. People are like, "Oh man, I love this game." It's like, were you playing it with your eyes closed? Because it's terrible. Far Cry Primal was the last good one, in my opinion, because it was just like bare bones. It was awesome, This upgrading the spear was the best part, because you could pin people to a wall. But anyway, that's my good news. Ubisoft going into liquidation, huge.
I've got some gaming news here. So I've got Tekken 8 is the reviews have just absolutely tanked to the point where they're almost in negatives. So apparently what's happened is that they've released some new DLC for Tekken 8 with Heihachi, but this costs an extra $5 even for those who already purchased the DLC pass. So you purchase a DLC pass with the inclusion of the DLC, and then when the DLC comes out, they charge you another $5 for the DLC you've already paid for. So people are jumping into the reviews and being like, "Hey, probably go fuck yourself. I'm not paying for this." Off the Grid will have a Battle Royale third-person shooter. Early access is already out for PS5 and Xbox and PC.
What is Off the Grid?
It's basically like So it is a dystopian tropical island scarred by corporate warfare. It's from Neil Blomkamp, known for District 9, who continues to push the limits of sci-fi storytelling, aiming to set a new standard with a mix of PvE and PvP. And it actually, bro, it looks dope as. Like, I'm pretty down to give it a download.
There's another game I want to play, and that's Space Marine 2 from Warhammer.
Yes.
I want to give that a go. I hit up the boys. I said surely. But one of my mates is playing a game called New World, which I need to download and jam with him. I've seen gameplay for it. but it'd be good just to jam. Because I haven't played Fortnite in ages because I just can't be asked.
No, I know. I checked it out the other day, and I was like, "Holy shit! It's been 16 weeks since you and I like did duos together. 16 weeks is a hell of a long time. Like that's not just.
It's like quarter.
We do
quarter
need
of
to
a
jump
year?
on the game together again. Yeah, something around that.
I've still got it installed.
Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Oh yeah. Oh,
There you go.
Nintendo's released a new $100 alarm clock.
I did see
Um,
that. Yeah,
Yeah. So it'll play Nintendo sounds.
I might buy
What
it.
else we got here? Dragon Ball Sparking Zero smashes 91k CCU on Steam. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I've heard that's pretty good.
Yeah, hold on, what else have I got here?
EAFC 25 is still terrible. I haven't
Oh,
re-downloaded
dude.
it, but I've seen so many clips, and it's so frustrating because it's like it just seems to get worse every year. You know, like, and I talk myself into it. I'm like, I'm not going to buy it, and then I buy it, and then I play it, and then it's terrible. Like, and the saving grace for me was always manager mode because I enjoyed taking a team, usually Man United, to Champions League glory
Yeah.
where they belong. I remember in FIFA 22
Yes.
I bought Rafael Leao and Doniel Marlin. Oh, gross partnership though. Speaking of
the
gross,
foresight.
speaking of gross in a good way, well done at the gig last night at Meow.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Yeah.
And a huge shout out to Dave and the Dirty Humans for also being just filthy with it.
Oh yeah. No, they are always
Yeah.
a good band to play with, man. So obviously, tomorrow actually is 1 year since we won Battle of the Bands. It's October 14th tomorrow, so it's been one
Oosh.
full year.
1 year since Dad made a fool of himself.
No, this is the national final. So this is the 1 year since the national final, and so it's a pretty
it's in
it's
the
a pretty
US.
big salute. But yeah, so
Sorry.
it's a pretty big milestone for me and the boys. Like last night was an amazing show. The stage sound at Meow was incredible. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those venues that if you ever get a chance to play it, you definitely take it. It's like that and the San Francisco Bathhouse. Like those are the venues that Wellington bands want to play on the regular, but it's not a place that you could get to play on the regular, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We got hit up by an indie label while we were there that want to chat to us. We got hit up by the sound guy who was like over the moon stoked with our sound because he was just like, look, you don't sound like every other rock band in Wellington at the moment. You guys have your own fresh sound and it's really cool. And
What was the
blah,
sorry?
blah, blah, blah,
Sorry to
which is
interrupt. What was the name of the song you guys played? That was like I think it was that you hadn't played before. Was it? I want to say Stray Devil.
it is Stray Devil, yeah.
Fuck, I'm good.
Yeah.
And yet I still don't have free merchandise. And yet I still go to all the shows and I know all the songs. So
Yeah.
what's up with that? I want to keep
Sorry
bringing it
about
up.
that. That's crazy.
I'm going to start a change.org
Anyway, so this-
petition because they always work.
The sound engineer's name was Mark Freeman. He is apparently like a stalwart. He's been around for years and years and years, and is really interested to work with us again. Got confirmed for the Summer Hummer. Like completely confirmed. Like it's all locked in now. We're playing just before the headliners, and that's like. I'm surprised more people haven't heard of it outside of the Whited Upper, but there's tipped to be, after the success of last year with 4,500 people, there's tipped to be 5,000 plus next year.
That's huge.
And it's, well, bro, and we're playing just before the big band, like just before the big band. And that's the kind of slot you need. That's where it should be.
Yeah.
Touching slightly back onto the gaming news, Red Dead Redemption's coming to PC finally after 14 years, so October 29th, we can look forward to that. They are remaking God of War Greek Saga.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, well, I hope it's going to be similar to 2018 God of War and God of War Ragnarok in terms of gameplay, where it's not like a fixed camera and it's not like it's not a fixed camera with sort of like hack and slash combat. It's going to be more akin to Souls-like combat. I hope
Right.
anyway. But yeah, Red
Have
Dead
you
Redemption to
played-
PC. Have I played?
Oh, Starfield.
No, I want to give it a go. Just because I've always been a fan of average games.
Because
Like-
that's exactly what's here as well. Apparently, the new DLC is like 31%
Shattered Space or something?
rated. Yeah, Shattered Space DLC apparently is just
I'm knowledgeable.
terrible.
Yeah, no, it's I've heard that it's awful, but I want to give it a go because, yeah, I've always liked sort of average. I guess like not repetitive. Repetitive games like yeah, like AC Odyssey. I kind of enjoyed. Far Cry, not even Far Cry 4. That was just Far Cry 3, just with a different coat of paint.
Yeah.
Far Cry Primal, that's pretty average, but that is one of the best Far Cry games. Yeah, no, just I just like gaming. I think is at the end of the day, what I want to put out in the world is that my TV's turned off. Is that I like gaming. I am a gamer.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mum. I've come out as a gamer.
I've only got a couple more things here. Obviously, we talked on Wednesday, so this is probably going to be quite a short one based on what's been happening recently. But so we've got Twilight Football starting on this Tuesday, playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for this year. So for those who don't know, Twilight Football is 7-a-side, based here in the Waited Upper. So I'm really looking forward to that. Came across a football story though. Preston North End striker bit a Blackburn defender by the name of Owen Beck and has been fined £15,000 and received an 8-match ban.
Shit. Maybe they should have
there's
done that to
footage of
Suarez the
him-
first time.
Yeah, there's footage of him literally biting this man on the shoulder. And
Speaking of
Suarez
football-
had
A huge RIP to George Baldock, I believe his name was, former Sheffield
oh
United
yeah,
player, former Northampton Town player, I believe, and a Greek international, which was awesome because Greece beat England at Wembley in the Nations League earlier this week,
2-1.
which was huge.
Yeah,
But
Monday
yeah,
morning.
big RIP to that dude.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually wild. What did he die from? Do we know?
I don't know, but I assume it was probably. I think it was some sort of heart condition. I don't know, but that's a guess.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
What
bit of a
else did I
shame.
have? I had... Oh, there was a story that came out where there was a guy who was searched and arrested, and he had a bag that said definitely not a bag of drugs, which contained drugs.
Scribe should
it's
invest in
fantastic.
something like that.
What's that?
Scribe should invest in something like that because he always has a bag
Oh,
on him when
yeah.
he performs, which is weird.
So it's so he it contained a nondescript white powder, lots of money, and just a 6-shooter, little pistol, and it's one of those like live laugh love looking fonts, and it's got definitely not a bag of drugs written on the front of it, which I thought was class.
I admire the hustle and the idea, but probably not the execution in terms of actually putting
absolutely
drugs
not.
in there.
Yeah, maybe
But
put your
yeah.
drugs in another bag so that when they look in that bag, they're like, haha, got me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
yeah.
see that. Yeah, you got to respect the craft. Like he's gone all the way
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
One Piece potentially coming to a close very soon, by the sounds.
Oh, the animated show? I should say the
Yeah.
anime, sorry. Oh, shit.
Yep.
I mean, I've never watched
they are
it,
getting
but
closer.
from what I know, they spend 1,000 episodes on the exact same plot point, from my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I've
they
never
are
watched
trying
it.
to. Oh, okay. So it's not bad. Like it's the live action Netflix series is pretty good. I don't know if they've renewed that, if that's going to come back soon.
I think
they
it
got a
is.
Filipino kid playing Luffy, which is pretty cool. and the CG is done really well, and the acting is not bad. And then you go and watch the anime, and it's it's anime. It's over the top. It's wild. The fight scenes are crazy. It takes them 3 episodes to do what you probably could have done in 5 minutes, but that's just Japanese animation.
Yeah.
So they're easily in the 1100s of those episodes, and they are there's a potential big announcement coming soon, and the general consensus from weebs and fans online is that it will be they're announcing that it's coming to a close, which for a lot of people will be a bit sad, but for a lot of people will be a sigh of relief because it means that there'll actually be a finite point to this series, so that when you start watching it, you're not going to just get caught up in the abyss that is just constant repetitive storylines of the same exact plot points.
Yeah, I've never watched it. And in my opinion, the best Netflix show ever is Narcos, season 1 and 2.
Oh, Netflix is one thing. Yeah, I mean Netflix is completely subjective, and so is anime. But for instance, my favorite anime would be just regular old Dragon Ball Z. I'm very, very vanilla when it comes to anime.
Yeah, my favorite anime is
Bleach.
probably The Big League Show. I'd consider I'd consider that anime.
High class anime as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the best. Bro, have you got around to watching the Sassy Show yet?
No. I've been watching a lot of different stuff on YouTube though. Have you heard of a channel called Good Enough?
No.
It's in the same sort of vein as Oversimplified, in terms of like it being like that's the kind of animation style, but he talks about like the most vicious outlaws in the Wild West, so like from the least to the most, or like the scariest things in the universe. And this YouTuber called Jolums, he platinums games. I've been watching. I watch a lot of his videos. And yeah, he platinumed Red Dead Redemption, which is kind of cool to watch. But yeah, he's an inspiration of me wanting to make video game content, because I just I like his shit. And when he was starting to pop off, I was commenting on his videos and he would like them, so just fangirling,
Douche.
So yeah.
So I continue to just basically watch Big Tug on a constant basis.
My
I
coworker
love his
watches Big
content.
Tug.
Yeah, he's
He's really into it.
Oh, dude, he like once you start watching his content, you kind of like low key platonically fall in love with the dude. He's charming because he just gives zero shits, bro. Like, and he'll talk about a topic and he just rinses whoever and whatever he's talking about with zero remorse. There's a dude, what's his name? Chuppel. And I can't remember if it's let me just see. The first, Chuppl. Yeah, there it is. He does these weird in-depth documentaries, like how bread tags changed the world, and he like goes to the place where they created bread tags and tries to like get the truth out of them. There's a mafia of people who are stealing sand, so he tried to uncover them as well. The glitter conspiracy, he went to the place where the most glitter is made in the world, and security told him to fuck off and shit. Like, it got real serious.
Shit.
But his storytelling and the way that he creates videos is actually just wild. Like, he's just an incredible content creator. Like, if I could get anywhere near what he's done, I would be just,
rock hard.
I'd be... Oh, bro, it'd be amazing. So there's one I haven't watched, which is the truth about Havana
My erection,
syndrome.
it would be
I'm gonna
amazing.
watch that. Honestly, Leaning Tower of Pisa-esque.
Yeah.
And like Swindletown, USA, where online scams come from, he put air tags in a bunch of packages because people in Africa were redirecting their calls through Florida. and then calling people in the US, getting them to send stuff on Facebook Marketplace. So he sold a camera lens on Facebook Marketplace, hid an AirTag in the lens of it, and they ditched the package. But this dude managed to find the house of the person who was scamming him and sent someone who was also in Nigeria to this dude's house, basically being like,
Yeah.
hey, where's my money? And it was just like, what? How in depth do you have to go? But yeah, bread tags. There's why the FBI wants this TikToker, and it's this absolutely just insane dude who like defected to Russia, and goes on YouTube and tells everyone how he's like hiding from the feds and all this kind of stuff, and he turns out to be full of shit. And Chuppel uncovers the fact that he's full of shit. I actually think Chuppel's not his name. It looks here that his name is Jack Joyce, and it's him and his girlfriend, or they might just be like doing content together or whatever. Maybe it's Chuppel because they're a couple. Who knows? But I just know the content's incredible. I've been subscribed for some time, and I've watched every video up until the one he released 12 days ago. So that's exactly what I'm doing as soon as we jump off this call, for sure.
No, fair enough. But in other F1 news, here we go. F1 news. I know you're excited about this.
Yep, over the moon.
So Toyota is back as an engine supplier for Haas, which is huge news. The last time Toyota was in the sport, Jenson Button, he was an F1 champion with Braun GP when they had the double diffuser. Lewis Hamilton only had one championship. Sebastian Vettel was in his first year of F1 with Toro Rosso. Some huge news. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. It'll be good money for Haas as well, because they have a decent driver lineup for next year as well, with a rookie and a veteran, even though the veteran Esteban Ocon is a bit of a wild card, but we'll see how that goes. That's what I'm looking forward to. I can't wait for it to be back in 2 weeks, which is just far too long. But we're back. It'll be the US Grand Prix in Texas. The Circuit of America, as they call it. So it'll be cool to see what happens there. We could have a new F1 world champion.
Sorry, just to interject slightly on your F1 speech. Was there an F1 event on the Gold Coast recently?
I don't know. Was it?
Okay, because when we went to Ripley's Believe It or Not a couple of weeks ago, they still had the barriers up. So at one point, when you're driving into the main township of the Gold Coast, you were on an F1 track. Like, all the sponsors were still up on the barriers and the cages were over the sides, and it was like just at an instant you were driving onto a road in the Gold Coast and all the barriers and stuff were still up. And I was looking around, and then all of a sudden it turned into an F1 track, and my wife was like, where are we? And I was like, I'm pretty sure we're still on the right road.
It might not be F1 because the only track in Australia is in Melbourne for F1.
Okay.
So it could have maybe been
this was clearly some sort of race track, but it was like...
It could have been maybe
I was going to take a video for you. No, Bathurst is in Bathurst. That's the name of the town.
Oh, well, maybe it could have been a V8 Supercars race, then I don't know, or some sort of other classification. The only F1 track is in Melbourne. Well, in Australia anyway. But yeah, so some big F1 news coming out earlier this week. So hopefully Toyota do better than they did last time. They did supply Braun that year, but the year before they were also terrible. But we'll have to wait and see. But
Okay, so this is apparently quite a very common thing. Northbound view of the circuit on the main beach straight. Yeah, this is what I drove on. So this is supercars. There's GT3 Formula.
Oh, so
Ford.
I did get it right.
Yeah, so I don't think it's like... Oh, yeah, there's a Ford FG Falcon here, Mustang, Porsche 911. It looks like Indy cars. Surfers Paradise Street Circuit is a temporary street circuit in Surfers Paradise, Queensland. The 2.9k beachside track has several fast sections and two chicanes. Hosted the American Championship car racing event, the Gold Coast Indy 300. The circuit has hosted touring car races since 1994, with the Supercars Championship currently contesting the the annual Gold Coast 500 at the circuit. Yeah, so we drove through that, and I was going to take a video for you because I was like, it's kind of surreal being on an actual track, as it were.
Yeah.
And for you to just turn a corner and be driving down the street, and then all of a sudden be on a racetrack it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's what happens in Monaco. Because the majority of the track is the street, so you can people when the race isn't on throughout the year, people just drive it like normal, which would be super fucking cool. Even though it's actually kind of a boring track nowadays, because whoever's on pole position wins the race. So it's anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, speaking of, Bathurst was today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Brody Kostecki has won his first Bathurst 1000, leading for almost all of the 161 laps around Mount Panorama. Oh, Sunday. So it was... Oh, no, it is today. It was today. Didn't hear a peep about it, man. King Charles will apparently travel with 2 doctors and a spare supply of blood. Dude is not in a good way.
No. Well, so who's gonna be the monarch then? Is it gonna be no, not Charles? Is it gonna be
Big Willie.
what's his name? Big Willie.
Big Willie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Large Johnson.
Mm.
Sizable Panyas. Big Willie.
Indeed. Oh, and another sports news. NBA is almost upon us again. We're currently in the preseason.
Oosh.
My beloved Bulls lost today to a late 3-pointer from the Grizzlies, which is fine. The Grizzlies are pretty mid anyway. The Celtics beat the 76ers by 50 points, which is...
I'm aware.
Which is just fantastic, because I don't know why... I don't know what it is, but I have a strange dislike for the 76ers. Probably because of Joel Embiid. But because they're regular season merchants. They do really well in the regular season, and then they just crash out in the playoffs. I don't think they've made it to one Eastern Conference Finals appearance, or even a Finals appearance. And Joel Embiid disappears in the postseason, but that's just that's just me going on. I've watched a lot of basketball content recently. There's this YouTuber, his name's Will So Trill, and he has the deepest voice I've ever heard, but he is the whitest and gingerest dude I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's the contrast.
It cracks me up, and he makes some good content.
A-League is back next weekend.
Huge.
Looking forward to that.
Up the mix.
Yep, Auckland FC have got their team in.
Oh, New Zealand Breakers are also on the preseason, and they've lost every game so far by at least 30 points.
Yeah, honestly, that doesn't surprise me. I love the Breakers, and I saw a couple of Breakers games when we lived in Brisbane, and my heart bleeds for them. It really does, because it's one of those New Zealand's got a few really good exports for basketball, but the NBL has always been predominantly tall Aussie blokes who couldn't make it playing AFL or couldn't make it playing rugby league. So
I want to
they're tall, stocky dudes.
I would like to go to a Breakers game, because they sometimes
We should do
play
that.
the TSB Arena.
Oh, dude, we should do that. Their operations manager is a guy called Paul, who I did a charity football match with a couple of weeks ago. Reckons come down and he'll get me some cheap tickets, because he does Saints stuff, and then when the Breakers turn up, he does stuff with the Breakers too. I don't know about merch. It's fuck. I don't know why you're going about merch all the time, bro. It's fucking expensive.
Because I want a Dead Zephyrs hoodie for free, because I work hard for it.
It's so... bro, honestly, if I had a spare $80 to $100 to just drop on you for no reason, I probably still wouldn't do it because
Christmas is
it's-
coming up.
Yeah, it is. And your boy is an early 17th century style of music because I'm Baroque, my guy. Like, I don't understand what you want from me
Yeah,
other
I
than
need to sort out some
financial
Christmas
gain.
presents
By
as
sounds.
well. I just don't know what to get for people. And I'm
Lego.
poor,
Lego's
so,
always a safe bet.
yeah. This year I'm going to try and do calendars as well. Because last year it was pamphlets. This year it'll be calendars. So look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to not putting that calendar up.
Hey. No. You will put the calendar up and you will be proud.
Yeah, and then take it down as soon as you go back to Wellington.
No, that's so rude. I'm going to say to the kids, you make sure that stays up. Actually, no.
I'll let you
I'm
take
gonna
a
make
wild
sure-
guess at how many of your pamphlets stuck around when the wrapping paper was thrown out later that day.
Oh, honestly, I printed out far too many pamphlets, so it's all right.
There was so many, bro. I'm still finding pamphlets. Like, you gave us each one, but I'm sure everyone left theirs at my house as well because I found pamphlets for months afterwards.
That's hurtful.
Tucked
actually.
away in like random places where you've given it to them and they'd be like, "Oh, thanks so much, Louis." And I've opened a random drawer months down the track and be like, "Oh, there's one of Louis's pamphlets in here."
I started off strong with the cards. So this year it'll be calendars, just because they'll be able to stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's the distinct lack of effort you put into them. Like
Actually, no, that's
the cards
no,
or
no,
the
no, no.
pamphlets. Bro,
No.
no, you write like
That actually
you write
no,
three sentences.
that's offensive. I actually put a lot of effort into those because it's more of a it's
You fucking do not.
I do. Those cards took me ages to do. The calendars I still have to sort out, but it's more of a personal gift than me buying shit that you guys will use once and then put away forever. You know?
If that took you ages, I'm surprised you didn't have a teacher aide at high school. Like that's
I say
it's-
ages. I'll be honest. The cards took me maybe 20 minutes to do because I did it while I was
yeah,
at field days.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like
No, but
yeah,
it's more personal.
What are you talking about? Well, I'm offended by that. That took me minutes. That took me minutes to do, my
But
guy.
It's more personal than me buying something that you'll play with for 10 minutes and then put down. You know, at least
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying is slightly more effort. I'm sure would be wildly appreciated.
I do
with
put
the
a lot of
pamphlets,
effort
it was
into them.
like with the pamphlets, you didn't even tell us how your year had gone. You were just like, "Yeah, had some mental health struggles and went to America." That's literally all it said.
Yeah, 'cause
there was
that's how my
nothing
year
else.
went.
But there was like you worked at Harvest. You did all of these things. You'd been to the States and you'd been to all these different places in the States. You'd done travel. You could have written like a short story or
I ran
something.
out of space.
But it was just like, yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I ran
But
out
the
of
pamphlets
space.
are only a certain size.
Yeah, and they were
Fucking
expensive too. Wildly enough, they were expensive. But yeah, the calendars are actually not too bad, so I need to sort that out, and some other Christmas presents. So yeah, look forward to
I
your
just want
signed
Legos.
calendar.
Oosh. I just want Lego. Like I reckon that, and it seems to draw in a lot of people if you do like live stream on TikTok or Twitch. Like if you're just doing Lego and
I
like
did
just
that.
chatting stream or something.
I
Yeah,
s-
people dig it.
I streamed on my MacBook. Oh, I streamed myself building. I think it was the Spider-Man helicopter that Mum got me. Shout out.
No, I
Mum.
got you that.
Oh, anyway,
Yeah,
I was doing that. I think
that's fine. I'm just gonna
um,
fuck myself. That's great.
you don't appreciate anything I do anyway. So
Yeah, because I actually had to get in my car and drive to a shop and buy Lego for you and wrap it. Okay, and wait till Christmas Day
Dean
to
wrapped it,
hand it
didn't
to
she?
you personally. She 100% did, bro. Yeah. So, like, I did nothing except use my credit card. I'm probably still paying off the Lego set from last year. Oh no! All right, and with that, I'm gonna call it a day right there.
yeah,
What are we
yeah,
saying?
Yeah.
All right,
I think
well-
it's because we spoke already during the week, so there's not much going on. It's just a
Yeah,
bit more
I
of a
reckon
catch up.
next week's episode's going to go off. We'll probably have an idea of what Philly's going to get charged with. There's probably going to be some decent gaming news. All the really cool stuff gets announced right at the end of October to get people ready for the silly season, Black Friday, Christmas. I can already hear Mariah Carey in the distance, just clearing her throat, getting ready for making
I'm
millions and
getting
millions
ready
of
to.
dollars.
I'm getting
during
ready to
December.
listen to some Christmas albums.
Oh, bro, honestly, bring me Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra and like
Bring
leave
me
the
Justin
rest.
Bieber
Oh, no, the
and
boobs.
Michael Bublé. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Justin Bieber. That's a great Christmas album, that is.
No, pubescent Justin Bieber's Christmas album gives me literal diarrhea.
But that's something you've had for like 10 years, so, you know.
Yeah, it's called IBS, and it was sparked on by Justin Bieber's fucking pubescent Christmas album.
Hurtful.
It's a great. I love it so much. Anyway,
It's a great
I'm gonna
album.
go. It's a terrible album.
I don't agree. I disagree with your opinions.
That's okay.
Regarding
That's why we're in a
Justin Bieber.
podcast together.
Yeah, I
That's,
disagree
we're on a
with your
podcast
opinions.
together. That's why. If we agreed on everything, it'd just be me saying stuff and you being like, "Yup."
Yeah.
All right, listeners, we bid you an oosh, oosh.
Oosh.